Hi, and welcome to this video on Business Central and Microsoft Teams hacking session number 1. Hey, I'm Eric, and one of the new things that came around with version 17 and is slowly now rolling out to everybody in the cloud is the possibility of integration with Microsoft Teams. And I thought I would explore that a bit I guess I named this video number 1 because I think there's stuff that I'm not gonna cover that I want to cover, so that'll probably be in number 2, which is a great excuse for you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, because then you'll get notified when number 2 is coming. Anyway, so let's talk Microsoft Teams and Business Central. So at this point, this only works for Business Central in the cloud. You might be able to get it to work, but as far as I can see, this is only for Business Central in the cloud so far. So here is my good old Teams, not my Visual Studio Code yet, but we'll get there. And the way it's quite simple actually. So if you go to apps and you search for Business Central, you'll see that there's now a Business Central preview app. You click on that, and I have already clicked, so now it will just say open. If you do this the first time, it will say install, but the installation process is really boring because it's just a single authentication operation, and then it's installed. And so it's already installed here. So if I go in and look at what apps I have installed, I can see that I don't have Business Central installed, even though we know it's installed. So if I go into a team, I create a new channel here. Let's see what we have. Let's search. Let's search business. There's nothing with business. So where is this app? It's we can see Dynamics 365. That's URM, and we got SharePoint and all the good stuff. But so the very first impression is that we install an app and then it's nowhere. And that's because it's not that kind of app per se. But let's switch over. Here is my Business Central, and let's go into the Alpine Ski Schoolhouse. Right now it's actually sunny and beautiful outside here in British Columbia, but we're hoping for snow soon so we can get up and do some skiing. Anyway, here is a customer. So let me just grab this link and go back into my Teams, and I'll have a discussion with myself. So if I start, let me make sure that this is big enough for you guys to see. So if I start typing something, and then I paste the URL from Business Central here. So this guy is as you can see, now we got a Business Central card, and I can actually go and delete this one. So look at that grin. He's one happy customer. So by pasting a link from my Business Central, I get a card, I think is the proper term, for this customer. So I get the customer name. It says customer card. That's really nice, I guess. I get a customer number and a balance, and apparently that is Ian, demo Ian. And we got a balance and a balance due. And there are 3 dots up here, and well, that's not very helpful. We can say copy. Does that mean that if I go down here and type something more and paste, I simply paste the card? Well, I guess that could be useful also. So then we have 2 functions here. One is called details. We click on details, and now we can see that, hey, this is clearly Business Central, some sort of a iframe experience, just kind of like what we also see in Outlook. And we get to the customer card. That's nice. No way of making this bigger or smaller. We can close it. I can press Alt Q in this, even though there's no bar. I can do Alt T. So if you know your shortcut keys, you can actually get around. So Alt Q. Let's go to something completely. How about jobs? We go to jobs. We go to a job card. So basically, this is one. Oh, that's the SharePoint connector. So we kind of get an easy way into Business Central. Let's close that again. This was if we hit details. So what about Popup? Well, that will clearly just take us to the link we just pasted, basically. So give people an option to go back into Business Central to that specific card. But let's try something else. You know, we were on jobs. Let's just try with jobs one more time. See what happens. We go to jobs. I grab and by the way, I'm actually in a sandbox here, so this works equally across sandbox and production environments, because that's part of the URL. So I copy this one. I go back to Teams. Let's have a new conversation. How about jobs? And we get the same thing, so I can get rid of the URL again, because now we got the card. So that's kind of a weird way of handling this. So we can see that we have a I'm actually not sure what that did. You saw that the arrow that was pointing up down. So there's nothing in this one. So let's do it again. Jobs. And I'll paste this one in again. So I'm not sure what that means. I'll guess that the X is removing this one, but I would think that this one would make it smaller, but it just disappeared. Anyway, so that's kind of it. But the next question comes here that, okay, so how can we as a developer use this? Clearly, this is just taking something from in BC. So here is my good old Visual Studio Code. As usual, I have just created a new app. What we need to figure out, so let's go back to Teams just for a moment and take a look at the customer thing. So it's this customer card. It has the name, the image, and the number and balance and so on. But the image is actually not on the customer card. It's actually on a fact box. So clearly this is not the customer card per se. This is something else. And let me show you what it is. Let me go back to Visual Studio Code here for a second, and I'm gonna do something on another screen. Don't be scared. I'm just gonna open the source code for the customer table. And the construct that we need here. So you would think that if we actually, let's do it the other way around. It was just me being annoying. Sorry. Come on, load. Let's find 21 customer card. So here's the customer card, and we can see that we have, we have the name, and that looks important. And if we go down and find the name, we can see that the importance section on name is set to promoted. So that kind of thing, oh, that's probably what they're using. But the problem, how about that picture? So the picture is sitting in a fact box. And this fact box is, let's see if we can get it. Might not be able to get it. Come on. You can do it. Oh. You can do it? You cannot do it? Why not? So what we're seeing over here is actually not the customer card, even though this says customer card. So this is totally misleading, this label here, because what we need to do is actually we need to look at the customer table, as I started by saying. And on the customer table, we need to find something known as a field group. So what is a field group? So a field group is a selection of fields that are used by the UI in a specific condition. And out of the gate, there are kind of two field groups that are used. One is called dropdown, which meaning that those are the fields: number, name, city, postcode, phone number, contact. Those are the fields that are shown when you do a drop down to select a customer. The other one has the very what word to use here? The very strange name called a brick. Says number, name, balance, contact, balance, due, image. And I think this was originally born out of the phone client. So when you saw the customer list, you would see like a brick for each customer. I think that was the naming convention. Anyway, we can see here that number, name, balance, local currency, contact, balance, due, local currencies, and image. Those are clearly the fields that we are seeing here, although not in the same order. So apparently some logic is being applied here. Let's take a look at job for a second. Just go back here in my BC and let's look at the field group for job. So here is number, description, bill to customer, starting date, status, and image. So apparently the job that I was looking at did not have a image, and here it says job card is kind of in bold, where here it says Alpine Ski School House customer card. And we do have a description. So what's the difference between this field group and this field group? Nothing. Let's do one thing. Let's try one thing. Hope you guys are up for exploring here. How do I even put a image on a on a job. I can't. Huh. Interesting. Do we have an image in a field on a card somewhere? No. Okay, we need. Let's check one more thing. Sorry about all this exploration here. So let's just look at image. What is image? Image is a media field, so that's good. But it's just me who would expect a image field on the job card. Huh. I guess not. Okay. Let's explore that at some other time. So let's go back to this one for a second. So question number one here. Yeah, I'm not sure there's a question number two, but question number one is what can we do with this? And let's try. So let's actually go. So we know this is a table. So if we gonna do anything on a table, we need to use a table extension. So Teams hacking.al. So let's create a table extension and give it a number that hopefully not used in this database. When you create tons of small extensions and run them on the same virtual machine all the time, sometimes you run into numbers that you use somewhere else. Yeah, and I could be more careful with my with my Docker containers, but I'm not. So this one extends the customer table, and so let's see, what can we extend? We can extend fields and keys, but we can also extend field groups. So that's exactly what we need. And we can see that the only thing we can do, apart from, see, Waldo has infected my thing with all his crazy snippets. But we'll just ignore Waldo for now. So the only thing we can do is add last. So we can apparently add something to a field group. So what do we need here? We need to supply an anchor and the fields. Okay, that's easy. So the anchor, I'll ask the control space that will give you the IntelliSense. Brick and drop down, those were the two field groups that are on customer. So we're gonna do something with brick, semicolon, and then field. So let's add the address and the address too. And so I wonder if we're also breaking at this point, actually breaking the phone client. Let's figure that out in a minute. Address to phone number. You gotta have the phone number on a customer. That's very convenient. Or perhaps the email. That might be even more. Or not semicolon. That has to be a comma. The email. So this is valuable for what we're doing around here. So we'll add the address to phone number, and an email to the brick. Okay, let's compile this. And we need to authenticate. If somebody from Microsoft is watching this, I need to authenticate over and over and over again. Something is not working with authentication. I need to do it again. So for every deployment, I gotta authenticate twice. I have days where I've authenticated over 200 times on the same day. That's really annoying. Sorry for the rant, guys. Anyway, I think we are on our way to a successful deployment of this 8 lines of. And one thing that we didn't look at, and we can look at it, is that we still need to add some curly brackets on this at last here, but there's nothing we can do. There's no properties on the field group, so there's nothing to specify, so that's just a blank one. Anyway, let's see if this has been published. I think it has. And we're now deployed. So let's go back into Teams and do a new conversation. Oh, I need a customer card. Yeah, come on, you can do it. There we go. Let's go with the School of Fine Arts this time. So we're done with the... Still a happy customer here on this one also. Let's do this. So one thing, when the first time I played around this, I went to the team front and then I pasted something and nothing happens. I pressed enter and nothing happens. I say, this thing is broken. It doesn't work as for some reason if what you're doing is purely the UL, it doesn't work. Space something, space, then it works. This is weird. Probably a quirk that Microsoft will get rid of, but it doesn't see the UL if that's the only thing you're facing. So what did we get now? Let's actually just enter. So this is a proper posting. So we got, hey, you see that? We got our email, we got the phone number blank, address blank, and address 2 and an address. So we customize Teams, we customize the what we can do in Teams. And at last, well, that was certainly what happened, because it was just added. It was added in the order we asked for. One thing I would love to see is that if we have broken the phone client, so let's just try to do design on the customer list here, more, and I'll ask to put this in the format of the phone client. And I guess we did break it. This is really hard to see. Let me actually stop the sign. Let me, because I know my crappy. Oh, we also actually get the brick here. So already here. One thing that I know that this is I type 1, 2, 3 in a phone number. So let me do, this is YouTube, so we can do 555. because that's a classic movie phone number. So now here's a phone number on this guy. So the phone numbers showed up. So customer number, name, Robert, so that's the contact name, and then the phone number, even though that was the second to last of the 4 fields we added. So I guess that's still kind of a mystery what fields show up, but clearly the customization we made to our Teams experience do have an impact, because it's the same thing that's gonna hit these and the same thing that's gonna hit the phone client. So you got to be aware of that. So I think that's a great place to stop for now. So we got Teams working with Business Central. We even managed to customize it a bit. I think what I'm gonna do in episode 2 of this little exploratory exercise is see if we can from a JavaScript perspective, we have done a lot of videos on how to escape the sandbox and do things. So can we do stuff with Teams from that browser experience that's inside inside Teams? So I think that's gonna be the content of episode 2. Unless you have an amazing idea of what or questions that you want me to explore in this, then let me know in the comments below right after you subscribed. And until then, have a wonderful time, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.